Welcome back to Studio B. This is BYU Football Back to the 80s Part 2 alongside Jerem Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton. Our pleasure now to welcome into the Cougar Council Room for a look back at 1984 specifically and a little bit of 85, the great Robbie Bosco. Robbie, welcome.
What's up, Robbie?
Good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Okay, let's start with the super easy task of replacing Steve Young at quarterback.
How easy was it, Robbie?
Oh, it was too easy. I don't know why I wasn't playing before that. So it was like, oh boy, that brings back some crazy memories. I never felt like I had anxiety in my life, but I had anxiety. And it was crazy because, you know, when you're out there to practice and I was a backup and things like that, no big deal. And then when the time came, the anxiety really came into my life. And I remember the night before we left to Pitt, I literally started crying. And I did not want to go, thinking, how am I going to do this? And I'm going back to Mark Wilson, to McMahon, then to Steve Young. Because Mark is the main reason why I came here, is because I saw him play on national TV. And he threw, I think his first 3 passes were for touchdowns.
The San Diego State game,
San Diego State game.
On ABC.
Which was amazing. I was still in high school, obviously. And then to see all the records, all the wins, the championships and all that, thinking, okay, here's my turn. And I'm like, how? How are you going to be able to compete with any of that stuff? And so, you know, people talk about the pressures from the fans and stuff like that. I don't think anybody puts more pressure on us as QBs than we do ourselves. So I was just, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was really freaked out to go to that game and play. And because it was super hard. I remember Steve Young and Gordon Hudson would interview me after most practices when they were playing. And just say, hey, we're going to prep you for when you're
messing around.
Back. Just messing around.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, roll it. And Steve would ask me a question, and I'd literally be like, I can't do that. I don't know what to say. So everything was really new to me and everything like that, but it was not easy to pass.
How'd you overcome that to settle into what wasn't a great start into the Pitt game? You've talked about it, and Lavelle gave you confidence, right, to stay in there. And
you think you're going to get benched,
right?
Yeah.
You pull off this huge upset over number 3 Pitt to start the year on the first live game on ESPN of college football.
So it was crazy. Even the ESPN thing was a big deal. The Goodyear blimp was a huge deal to players. Like when that blimp was at your game, you were like big time. Then the first live televised game, and I'm like, man, these guys are ranked number 3. They have a great team coming back. Well, I don't know how good. Not only did I know how good our team was going to be, I don't know how good I was going to be. So my first 3 passes were a literal nightmare. And so I remember the first play, I was supposed to put Kozlowski in motion. He goes into slot. Well, he took like 2 steps and I snapped the ball already. I mean, I snapped it way too early. And then I threw a pass that I remember Mark Bellini just looked over his head like, I can't even jump that high to get that ball. Then I think I hit Kelly Smith in the back of the head and Adam Haysbert in the legs. And so I was a little bit depressed, like I knew I couldn't do it. I just never felt that confidence yet. As I was walking off the field, I see Lavelle walking towards me. I'm like, oh boy, he wants to tell me something not good, not in front of everybody. And I was really shocked. He put his arm around me and he said, look, you are the quarterback. Just relax. You've done it in practice. You know how to do it. And just go out there and play your game. Don't look over your shoulders. No one else is coming in to replace you. And so I felt a little bit of confidence.
But Blaine Fowler was like breathing heavy over your shoulder, like,
oh, yeah,
I'm right here, bro.
He was looking for his helmet, I'm sure. And so I look back, I watched that game last year, the whole game again. And I really I thought I played horrible. I didn't play very good. It didn't look very good. And this is like 35 years later. And so it was just really weird. And things didn't start clicking until the next game against Baylor.
Interesting. I was just going to ask, at what point did you feel like, okay, now I've truly settled in, I've handled the anxiety, I am the guy, and this won't affect me anymore? Yeah. What was that point? Or was there a specific moment that you can recall where you felt that clearly?
Yeah. I don't think I ever got over the anxiety. I mean, I tell you what, before every game, it was just like, you just took deep breaths. And it's just like everything. When you first start a game or whatever, you just have those butterflies and things like that, which I think is a good thing. But we came into Baylor. My back was a little bit banged up. We kept it a big secret. First time I got tackled, they're just squeezing it as hard as they can. I'm like, how do people find out this stuff that you're injured? So anyways, we go into that game, and we felt good. I still didn't know how good I was going to play. Practice is one thing, but the games where it really matters is a big deal. And so after that first half, I threw 5 touchdown passes, and that was it. I mean, I felt like, okay, now I know I can do it now, and I know our team's really good. Because Baylor was the only team that beat us the previous year.
That was a big game for that
Steve's first game, his senior year, Baylor won like 48-47 or something like that. And so, but after that, I felt more confident going into every game, and I knew that I could do the job.
At what point in the '84 season are you realizing, hey, this is a special team, and then certain dominoes start to fall to get you up to #1 late in the season?
Honestly, for me, feeling that way was way down the line. Because if you look back, there were probably 3 or 4 games that we could have lost like that.
Hawaii and Wyoming come to mind.
Hawaii, Wyoming, Air Force was 30-25. And it just wasn't easy. People don't understand. They always complained about the conference you're in and stuff like that. But people don't understand when you have a target on your back. Because I think we've won, I don't know how many consecutive games in the WAC at that time. So everybody wants to beat us more than anything. And so that was probably the hardest thing. And, you know, we just went out there and did our job. But it probably wasn't until we were #1 that I thought. Because even when we were #3, 2 teams ahead of us that were pretty good, we just got done beating Utah. And as we come out of the locker room, the game's over, and everybody told us #1 and #2 just lost. So we waited until the polls came out. We were ranked #1. I'm like, we only have 2 games left. So that's, for me, that's when I thought, we have a chance to do this.
Then comes the Holiday Bowl. I mean, you had to finish off Utah State, which you did. You handled the Aggies rather easily, and now you're undefeated going into the bowl game. But there are some stories out there about teams turning down invitations. We're trying to set the record straight. So from what you remember, who did BYU try and contact to get to play in the Holiday Bowl that turned it down before you ultimately ended up playing against 6-5 Michigan?
Yeah. So they tried to get Washington to play. And honestly, they turned it down. And it couldn't have been too big of a money issue, because back then, I don't think the bowl games, they were paying a ton of money like they pay now. And so we're like, look we're going to give you guys an opportunity to play the #1 team. You guys are ranked #2, and come play us, see what you do. Now, we were in the Holiday Bowl, and I think they were playing in the Orange Bowl against Oklahoma.
Right.
Was. So I think to
Ties
them,
for the conference,
those are the
right?
2 best teams in the country. And they thought, no, this is going to be a better for our program to play in the Orange Bowl than it would be in the Holiday Bowl.
Was there an option of playing in a different bowl game, or it was we won the WAC, we are in the Holiday Bowl no matter what?
We were in the Holiday Bowl no matter what. And we had the contract, and so there was no getting out of it. And it wasn't until the very next year in '85 that they switched that up. And then we went on and played in the Citrus Bowl that year.
Did Michigan end up being kind of the second option then out of the Big Ten? I assume the champ went to the Rose Bowl that year. And Michigan that year had been ranked as high as #3. Jim Harbaugh breaks his arm.
Yeah.
They kind of go downhill a little bit.
It's interesting, though, and people never look at all the stuff. But at the beginning of the year, I think they beat a really good Miami team, Michigan did. And they had a super good team. And they got a lot of injuries. Quarterback was hurt. Harbaugh didn't play in the Holiday Bowl, but I think they had most all their other players back. I'm telling you, they were very good. They were a hard-hitting team. They were just like what you think of a Michigan team.
A Bo Schembechler tough team.
Yeah. I know that one of the first plays, I threw a corner route, and they had an outside linebacker who was 6'4". And a corner route, you're throwing the ball down there about 25, 30 yards. He picked it off. I'm like, where'd that dude come from? That dude's an athlete. And so they were good, but you can't talk to anybody about that. But it was a tough game, and honestly, we had some not injuries, but we had some turnovers early. We felt we probably should have beat them by 2 or 3 touchdowns anyways. So,
well, you rally. Everybody wants to know what happened in what was the injury, Robbie? Do you know what the specific injury you sustained was in that game?
I try not to make it bigger and bigger every time, but honestly, I felt super good going into the game. So I was healthy. I remember throwing an out route to Cause, and our right tackle got beat a little bit. So the guy came in and hit me down low, which I don't think that was too much of a bother. But then as he rolled on me, and he just kept rolling, he had my leg and my ankle situated, and he kept rolling on it like that. And so it just it tweaked it. So that ended up being a high ankle sprain. I had a little bit of ligament damage in my right knee. And then, this probably didn't happen then, probably a little bit later, but I had some cracked ribs. But the biggest pain was my ankle sprain.
Yeah.
So typically a high ankle sprain, to heal it completely, you got to let it go about 2 or 3 weeks and not do anything on it.
Not 2 or 3 drives?
Not 2 or 3 drives. So anyways, as I'm on the ground, I'm not thinking much. I go, oh, that hurt, but no big deal. So I go, just get up. So I tried to get up, and I couldn't put any pressure on my foot. So I went back down, and then they come out. They said, just stay down, stay down. And so they looked at it a little bit. They go, let's go in the locker room and look at it. So they brought me in the locker room, and they were tweaking some stuff, looking at some stuff. And I said, look, can it hurt any more than it does now? Will it hurt my career for next year or down the future or whatever? And they said, no, that it shouldn't. So I said, just tape it up as tight as you can go, and we'll see what you can do. So as I walked out the tunnel, it was really awesome, and it really uplifted me because I could hear the fans just cheering. Like, there he is. Like, they're watching down there and to see when I'm going to come out. So I went over. I go, I got to get warmed up again. I'm going to do some drops, plan on it, and see how it feels. So when I first did that, it hurt. It hurt the plant on that foot. And I wasn't sure if I could do it or not. So our trainer brought me over to the table, took my shoe off, and just wrapped it more, and then wrapped it over my shoe and just wrapped it super tight. And so then I went up to Mike Holmgren, who was on the field calling bringing the plays in and out. And I said, okay, I'm ready to go. He goes, no, are you sure? I go, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I just went out. I went out, Blaine came out, and you know what? I think if you've been through a game and you've played on adrenaline, it's amazing how much you can do it. You can just do it. So it felt good during plays, and after the plays were over, it kind of felt a little pain going.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't going to miss that game, no matter what. It's too big for the school, for our team, for the fans, and for everything.
You had to get back in there, and you did, which was awesome. And do you guys switch the shotgun or something? You suddenly change?
We did.
That?
And so we never practiced the shotgun.
Oh, never even practiced?
Never even practiced it. And I remember the only time that we went under center was when I did a quick handoff, which should have been a little sign for the defense to know that. But I think one of the first times I was in shotgun, my cadence wasn't even normal, and I wasn't even sure how to call a play from the shotgun. And so during the little cadence, I felt they were gonna start blitzing now, which I thought was good because we had everything planned out for blitzes. And so I had to change the play at the line of scrimmage. And so I think he just snapped it before I could get the whole play out. But I put Kelly Smith on a hot route because they were bringing everybody on that side. And so it hit me right in the stomach. And I wasn't even looking. So luckily it was a decent snap. So I just grabbed it and flicked it out to Kelly, and we were able to make a play.
Good job, Trevor.
Then I told Trevor, I go, Trevor, listen to my hut, and then we get the ball or my go. And so after that, we had no problems with it. And, they tried blitzing a few times, but we had everything built in, so they really couldn't blitz against us, so we were ready to go.
When did the reality of what you and BYU football actually pulled off in winning a national championship as a non-power program set in for you?
Well, a couple times it did. I think after we scored the touchdown to go ahead, our defense went back out there. Marv Allen intercepted a pass. So we were just running plays to kill the clock. And so after that when that scoreboard went to 0-0, I remember hugging our tight end, David Mills, and just saying, we did it. We did it. Can you believe it? And so, but then it's not like the national championships now. So now we had to wait like 2 weeks before New Year's Day came. And so there's kind of a bit of a lull. Everybody was home. We weren't all together. And then I remember my dad waking me up in the morning. You guys are number one. So then the phone started ringing, started doing interviews, and it was just insane. People all over, Sports Illustrated, Sport Magazine.
Sure.
It was just crazy.
It's a good thing Stephen Gordon got you ready for those interviews.
There you
Robbie.
go. There you go. Without that, I would have never been able to do that either.
That's the part that's funny about this is it wasn't like you guys were watching a show and then you find out, or it's not even on the field. Like, you celebrate that you won and you think you probably did, but you don't know. Also, there's a couple of polls. It's not like now where it's pretty consensus, right?
Yeah.
And there's an outlier like, oh, UCF won the Natty in 2017. Whatever. It's not the same. And it was the newspaper, and it's your dad, which is great. 40 years later, 40-year anniversary, which I'm very excited to watch the show that you hosted, Spence. You were there, Robbie, of the 40-year anniversary. What's been some of the best fallout from 40 years of winning the national championship?
Well, I tell you what, we probably have had a 10 and a 20, and then that's 40.
Now it's 40.
And very few teams have all those, but you're talking about a national championship in football. So we've been able to get together a few times. And it's the best. Kind of the inside stories that nobody hears about, we talk about those stories. The non-football stories that we talk about with each other just bring tears to our eyes, not because they're sad, because they are just hilarious. And some of the things that went on, but what happened in '84, and then meeting in '94, 2004, and now, things don't change. Can't take it away from us. We did what we did. We probably changed the landscape to that point of college football.
Certainly.
And what they're going to do. And the best thing about that is it's a team championship. It wasn't one person. It went down from a walk-on to the starting tight end to the starting QB. Everybody on that team, coaches involved, included, staff, all that's included. And it's just something that people to this day will continually come up to me. How does it feel to do that? What was it like? And so it's awesome.